You're watching BCTV. We're all about Branford. You're watching BCTV, Branford Government Television, a service of Branford Community Television. This program is brought to you in part through the support of the town of Branford.
Good evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is a special meeting of the Board of Fire Commissioners, January 18th, 2022, 5 p.m. First one, because it's special, is on the agenda, is to consider, if appropriate, approve a request from Fire Chief Thomas Mahoney to amend the previously approved transfer request. And I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Riccio, who takes care of finance.
Yep. Okay, so Chief, I didn't get a chance to discuss this with you, and I apologize, but can you just explain a little bit what's...
Sure. So this is last month at your regular meeting, you approved a transfer from salaries to overtime. We have the surplus in salaries due to the vacant positions, and we have the overtime expense because we're paying people to fill those positions. So it's just a transfer from that account to help us offset our overtime costs. And this, what I'm asking for is, because so much time's gone by in the same situation, we recalculated the surplus, and I'm asking for $105,000 instead of the $80,000 you had approved. And that'll give us a little bit of surplus. We'll be revisiting this at some point before the end of the year or at the end of the year transfers.
Okay, so you think this will kind of hopefully get us through...
It'll get us to February, a little past February,
Okay.
and then we'll have to revisit.
So, Chief, we're not looking at 185 overall. We're looking at
What?
This is
No,
the 105.
this is the total transfer.
yeah,
we
in
sent
lieu of, yeah.
to the- yeah. I just felt that
we're revising it.
Add more, add more.
we missed the previous
Yep.
Board of Finance.
Right.
Gonna not see them until the end of this month, and then, you know, we've had that time pass and we have the surplus, so we're gonna do it now instead of.
Okay.
but-
Okay,
Smart, yeah.
with that being said, I will put a form of a motion that we transfer $105,000 from regular wages and salaries to the overtime account.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion made in second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so voted. Item number 2, to consider for appropriate approval request from Fire Chief Tom Mahoney to increase the hourly rate of part-time EMTs and paramedics to the following. A paramedic, $35 per hour base pay, plus 10% bonus if minimum of 3 shifts per month are worked. That would be $38.50. And the EMT would be at $24 an hour base pay plus 10%. A minimum of 3 shifts again per month are worked, and that would be $26.40. Turn over to Chief.
I'm gonna turn it over to Chief Bloomquist to explain the bonus pay that he worked out. And the idea being that, you know, we haven't been able to fill a lot of these shifts, and this is a phenomenon that's throughout our industry, not only in the fire and EMS world, but in the healthcare world. For instance, I already gave the chairman of the Board of Finance the heads up that we were having staffing issues, and to talk about it. Haven't been able to fill a lot of our shifts, and we looked, not, you know, even before the staffing issue, our pay was low again. The industry surpassed us, but we felt that having a bonus rate to try to say, you know, we need you to work the minimum shifts and incentivize that somehow. So I'll let Chief Bloomquist take over and explain the bonus part of the pay.
Sure. If you remember back when we first talked about this, we had spoke that I had done a survey and talked to all of our part-time EMS people. They had provided me with some valuable input. Some of it came down to wages, and there were some other things which we've addressed internally. But as far as the wages go, we looked at a way to not only get the people to come on board and work part-time for us, because our part-timers, as you know, are very important. They keep our firefighter, cross-trained firefighter paramedics available for other duties. So Chief Mahoney did the actual wage study, but the idea that we had come up with is, if, first of all, it would apply to only members that have been here for 2 years part-time. So a new member coming on, they would start at they wouldn't be eligible for the bonus. After 2 years, they would be eligible for the bonus if they worked 72 hours in a quarter, so a 3-month period, starting, you know, January 1st, for example, to the end of March. They would have to average 72 hours. Anything above that, they would get that 10% bonus on. It comes down to 3 shifts per month, but they could do 9 in one month and none in the next 2 and still be sort of eligible for it. And then with that, the wages that we are proposing would put us at line with the other services, or maybe a little bit higher in some cases than some of the other services. And we have a need for it because at some months, 30, 40, even 50%, we had one month where 50% of our part-time shifts went unfilled. And that in turn puts other circumstances in place where our firefighter paramedics have to go and do other calls and things like that. So,
And we've also seen I've been running reports for the Assistance to Firefighter Grant, and, our mutual aid was up. So we're bringing in outside people to do our calls, which means there's a delay in transport and a less efficient and safe environment for the public. So it's a good thing. And then I just printed out some of the examples that we used to come up with the rate increase. So this is a picture of an actual mailer that was sent. I received one. All the paramedics received one in the state. AMR sent it out, and their top step for an experienced paramedic's $38 an hour. So again, we're base pay a little bit less than that is what we're requesting, but if you do the minimum requirement for the bonus, then you'll be a little bit higher than that. So, and we do expect a lot of our part-time employees, and I think they deserve it.
Who's our biggest competitor?
As far as staffing
Is it
issues?
AMR? You said the 50% part-time.
I would
Where'd they
say
go?
that the majority of our part-time people are either fire department-based paramedics, or they work for commercial ambulances, or Madison.
Yeah.
And, when we're competing with a town like Madison, they have a much slower environment than we do.
Right.
Phenomenal service, but comparable to ours. And yet, at the same time, were you going to work in Branford and make $30 an hour, or go to Madison and make $38 an hour, do 2 calls, but you worked your you-know-what off here, so.
Fanny off with your hair,
That's
yeah.
right.
And somebody one of the part-time employees had commented, it's really hard to pick up shifts in Branford when, the pay is low, and I can go to AMR and make $8 an hour more, so. That's the market, and we're in competition with the market, and I would say that, certainly our commercial ambulances is the largest source of potential part-time employees. And if they have a choice of working extra there, coming here, you're not gonna take less money.
Right. So, last meeting, did we vote on this, or how did
We
we
had a
vote?
presentation on it below.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
we
what
didn't take any action, right?
No.
We
No.
said we'd come back with this study,
this, yeah.
and that we would revisit it, and that's what I'm asking.
The
you to
discussion,
do.
if I recall, Paul, was that the chief had presented to us one number, and we basically said, well, why don't we just do
I know
better?
we increased it,
Yeah.
Yeah, we
yeah.
push it up, yeah.
And that number is pretty much what you see
Yeah,
here.
it was without the
Right.
bonus though, right? Yeah.
Okay, so we're looking for a motion tonight so we can move on, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna move that.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so
And it, because it involves a salary increase,
We have to go to the Board of
it does need
Finance.
to go to the board, but because we've had such a significant amount of unfilled shifts, we did the calculations, the available hours, if everybody hit the bonus, which they won't, we will be able to afford it in our budget this year.
Right.
So there will be no need for an increased or more money from the
Or
board to
contingency.
cover this for this budget year. Of course, next year, we're
We'll
gonna
have
do
to
the
build
full
it into
year,
the budget, yeah.
and it will be more, and that's in the neighborhood of about $100,000.
I too spoke to the chairman too, of finance.
Mhm.
Yeah, so he's aware
Or
of what we're
you're
coming.
you'll track this to see if this really does
yeah.
bring in more people.
Absolutely.
We'll definitely keep a close eye on it.
Yeah.
And we did hire some additional personnel, so I think
Oh, okay.
2 paramedics and 6 CMTs, Chief?
Ends up being 1 paramedic and 6 EMTs, because the other paramedic
Oh, wow.
is also
Okay.
on our
Is
agenda.
on our,
I mean, I keep hearing the calls for backup. I mean,
Yeah.
how many backup calls did we have last, that you ran the report on?
Last calendar year, 292, I think, call-ins, something like that.
292 call-ins, and those calculations was based on, we actually paid someone to come in, so it
Okay.
wasn't we called and canceled.
Yeah, those were paid calls.
Those were,
Right.
those were
Ones
after.
Actual
transferred
people
out
came in and-
to
Okay.
mutual aid units.
Got really competitive, even in the nursing world, so it's the same thing that's happening. Yeah. Okay, item number 3, to consider if appropriate, approve a recommendation by the fire chief to extend a conditional offer of employment to Anthony Salerno of Branford for the position of full-time firefighter paramedic. Mr. Salerno was interviewed by the chief's office after passing the Connecticut Consortium paramedic-only exam process.
So, there is a big, we've discussed many times, finding paramedics is tough. And so, compounding that is the Connecticut Fire Academy, where we send to recruit school, had notified everybody that they needed names for the academy, or you weren't gonna get a seat by January 5th. And it put us into a little bit of an abnormal position. Normally, we would not have extended an offer without the board approval, but we had participated in the Connecticut Consortium, which was a 4-town paramedic-only test. There were only 4 candidates on that test. We interviewed, or chose to interview 2 of those, and both of those we felt were good candidates. One candidate decided to accept, and this is the thing, he had his choice of all 4 departments. He lives in West Haven, he chose West Haven. The candidate we would like you to approve tonight is Anthony Salerno. He moved from Connecticut from out of state, lives in Branford, wants to work in Branford. He's a paramedic, and we're gonna send him to the Fire Academy with your approval. He was an excellent, candidate, passed both the written test and the oral test, and was one of the top candidates in that. And there's only 4 of them, but
Good.
Right.
they were all very good candidates. But they're all getting picked up and they have their
Yeah.
choice, so.
If I could just speak on that a little bit. Of the 4 candidates, 2 were still in paramedic training, so they wouldn't have been ready to go
Right.
to the fire academy.
Okay.
So that's why we only chose to interview the 2 that we did. Anthony has 8 years military experience
Love
as a
that.
sergeant, as military police.
Oh, nice.
He lives in town with his wife and young child, and is very excited to be a part of the Branford Fire Department. So
Good.
Chief, does he have medical control?
he does have regional
nice,
medical
okay.
control. The only thing left that was gonna possibly be a condition to this offer and approval tonight was, he is actually in Florida right now taking his CPAT.
Yeah.
10 minutes to 5, he informed me that he passed that,
Good.
so
Excellent.
he'll be ready to go.
He had to go all the way to Florida for the test?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of
We,
people
in Connecticut, we
probably-
only run it a couple times a year, so.
Oh,
We
my,
don't have an
we've seen that
indoor
before.
facility for
you're
us.
kidding.
Yeah, so it's a problem statewide. It's been on the career chief's agenda. We've asked, through the commission to get more, but so far we haven't been successful, but
Sometimes they're dropping it too.
This is ridiculous.
for that reason, we
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
can't.
exactly. Run your own,
Go back to
the way we used to do it.
Remember?
God,
Yeah.
had no
So,
idea. Okay.
So we feel that, Anthony is an excellent candidate, and then this will, once, Anthony is graduated from the academy, we would have fulfilled 2 out of the 4 open vacancies. We just hired Mr. Gianteris, and then we still have 2 to go. And it is our goal and philosophy that we're not just trying to fill a position just to fill the position. If they're not a qualified candidate that's going to do well in Branford,
Yeah.
we're not interested. So we have a few in the pipeline, they're just not medics yet, and we'd rather wait for that to happen.
I'll make a motion that we approve Mr. Salerno.
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so voted. Item number 4, to consider an appropriate approval request by Fire Marshal Robert Dubinsky to participate with Brycer LLC, to participate the compliance engine, a proactive compliance solution application service. Marshal?
Right.
Fire Marshal?
So Commissioners, I left you a packet with just the about section of what Brycer is. Getting down to it, its simplest definition is a business in town that has a fire suppression system, a sprinkler system. They have to do annual maintenance on it, quarterly maintenance on it. So what this does is, when the vendor goes out and does the maintenance, the vendor reports that they would normally send either to me or give to the business owner. They send them to the compliance engine. It's like a clearinghouse. So there's a little bit over 130 vendors that are in Connecticut that participate with this. So chances are we'll pick up a lot of places. They send them the report. The reports get compiled. Then they send me a spreadsheet of the businesses that have either deficiencies, that are compliant. If a sprinkler system, fire alarm, any of those things goes down, has to have maintenance done. So it helps us, instead of the way that I'm getting reports now, which is via email from different vendors. They'll randomly send me some, they'll send me a dozen in a day.
Yeah.
So this compiles it all, puts it into one place that we can figure it out, see what's compliant and what's not in the town. With that, it also will integrate with the new software that we're looking at, the First Due software. So we'll be able to seamlessly put contact information from businesses and update that regularly, and then have other things, have businesses and whatnot, they'll be able to put in any information that they want us to have for pre-plans. It'll be more accessible for us. There's a bunch of different departments that are using it around us. Two of the good ones are Essex and Guilford. I've spoken with both their fire marshals. They both say that the software is good, it's working for them. So that's a positive. West Haven is also using it. I have not reached out to them yet, but I will be. So it's just a good way to get proactive and see what inspections are being done and where we can get to.
Now, Marshall, isn't it like, when they're due for their annual inspection, they'll send out a notification to the business that that inspection is due using our approved letterhead, and it saves us that step. So from our perspective, it's a much more efficient operation. The fire marshal spends a lot of time having to chase these things down. The way this business is funded and provided is the mechanical contractors basically fund it. And it's the clearinghouse for all those reports. So, you know, these businesses are responsible for it anyways. They're going to have to get this done. And it takes him a lot of time to have to send these notifications out, chase them down for the reports. It's going to be out of our hands now, although, you know, it's still, you know, coming through the fire marshal as far as the notification of the inspections. Then we get the reports. And then the only thing we need to do is follow up with it.
Follow up and verify, and also they do follow up on, we can set up different intervals that they'll go out, they'll call people and remind them, hey, you have to get this done. So it's kind of the first line of defense before they get to me.
Okay, I'm a little confused, but not sure. You will still be doing your inspections?
Yes,
Okay.
oh yes. Yeah, these are, so when I go out and I do an inspection, I'm not physically certifying, say, the sprinkler system.
Okay.
That's a vendor that the company will have come in and they'll certify the sprinkler system. I'll look at their report and I'll make sure that it's accurate and up to the standard.
Okay.
So I'll still be going out doing the inspections. This is just a better way to compile all the information for the town and keep it in one spot for us.
Okay. Good, okay.
Marshall, what happens if a business uses a certain vendor like Z, and Z's not part of this group?
Then it would still be the same way that I'm doing it now.
Yeah, okay.
I would still be asking for the sprinkler.
But you said
report.
there's 143,
It says that they have 143 plus inspection companies with addresses in Connecticut, so
Okay.
licensed inspectors in
so
Connecticut.
most of the good ones are on there.
Yeah,
Okay.
some of your bigger ones.
Yeah, well, do you think this will translate after, if it goes from this to, for this? Will this go to, fire alarm systems too in commercial businesses? 'Cause
Yeah,
you always
this
want
is
to
for-
report on those.
This is for everything. This is for fire alarms, sprinklers.
Oh, it is everything,
Yeah.
not just
If you
water
have-
suppression.
If you have restaurants that don't
Yeah.
have a fire alarm or a sprinkler, they still have the ANSEL system, the kitchen hood suppression system.
And that goes to that
Those
too?
need to be inspected, so when a company goes out and inspects, it goes to them.
Oh, this too?
Yep.
Oh, everything? Oh, okay.
It's really the clearinghouse for.
And what does this
different
cost us
factors.
for the town for subscription a year license for this?
No subscription, no cost.
Oh.
As the chief said, what happens is their business model, the vendors that participate with them are charged a fee.
Oh,
Oh.
okay, yeah,
So
Okay.
that kind of ends with us.
okay.
It's actually an extra set of hands for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Now, has this been around for a while? I mean, or is this new?
It's been around for a while, but it's
We never heard of
gaining more popularity,
Well,
we'll say.
we've been watching this for, when Bob and I first talked about this probably more than 6 months ago now.
Oh, okay.
And, we were trying to figure out the benefit and the ramifications or, impacts to local businesses. Because we're not heavy-handed here. We want to make sure everybody
Right.
is compliant. We have a responsibility by law to do that. But, we take a even-handed approach. So we wanted to make sure that we understood fully how this was going to work and what it was before we even brought it to the board. And, we let our neighboring departments go first, and then we've kind of determined how they
Okay.
liked it, and they really have nothing but good things to say about it. So we're excited to be, that part of the job is there's a lot more inspections than we have people to do
Yes,
them.
yes.
And this is going to help us with
Good,
that
good.
burden.
Good.
So just the paperwork and the follow-up and the letters, and we'll still have to go out there and do the inspections like
Right.
Bob said, but it takes one of the big burdensome steps out of it. He doesn't have to chase them around.
I know many times I've had to send you stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's like, I already sent it to you here, and you go, I don't got it.
Well, and unfortunately, a lot of the people come, they
true.
wait until it's time to renew a license, like
Oh,
a
yeah.
liquor license or something like that, because now
Before
they
they
have
call
to do
for
it.
the
Oh, okay.
And, Rob will go out there, do their inspection, he'll say, okay, well, where's your, sprinkler and maintenance reports? And they're like, we don't have them. So now they're doing it ahead of time, before he goes out, and
Good.
then,
Okay.
it'll actually get them on a more predictable cycle for themselves, too, so.
Good.
Interesting,
We have a-
interesting.
Make a motion, somebody, or,
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll move it.
okay,
okay.
I'll second it.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So we're voted. Last item, item 5, adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make
So
some.
moved, yeah.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Adjourned at 5:23. Thanks, Henry. Thanks, Marshall.
Thank you.
This program was brought to you in part through the support of the Town of Branford. Watch town meetings and other videos on demand at BranfordTV.org.